everyone for joining us today. Again, I am Joyce Johnson, author, speaker, sales champion, business coach, and founder of Wise Sales Network. I am so excited to be hosting the Aspiring Authors Workshop today from Cancun, Mexico. I have a co-authoring program, Color Outside the Lines, Extraordinary Stories of Leadership. And as I talk to individuals often, they're asking me, about the writing process. How did you write your book? I would love to write a book, but it takes so long. I don't even know where to start. Where do I start? And so we want to talk to aspiring authors and share those tips about how we wrote our books.
Thank you very much, Joyce, and I thank you for pronouncing my name the correct way. It's Aswan. Yeah, you got it right. My name's Aswan Cruikshank. I am the author of a book titled Swiftly, Your Guide to Innovative Teamwork. It's been out for about a year now, and it's about it's a little quick read about my experiences, my work experience, and how you find your professional space and things like that. And my second book is available for pre-order, titled Make Your Move. It is how boxing and dance can improve the quality of your life. So that's the second one that'll be ready come this summer, but it's available for pre-order. So
I am Kim Lodge. I am a 3-time author. One of my books is, of course, you see, From Fear to Faith. I've written this book in 2018, and it has definitely has been an inspiration, not only to myself, but for so many others. I have also co-authored on 2 other books, which is Visionistas and The Footprint to Success.
Hello, good morning. I'm Dr. Shawna Sobers. I am an assistant director within residence life at University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns, and also the CEO and leadership consultant for my company that is named after myself. And I am a 2-time co-author and currently just finishing up my own book. So I joined Kim Lotz on the Footprint of Success, Volume 1, and I'm on Visionistas Volume 2 that's now being released for this Women's Day or Women's Month. And then I'm also working on my book, Resilience Tree, The Strategies for Success for women of color aspiring to leadership. And so it's based on my research and a model that I've created around resilience.
They always ask me, how do I just start writing a book? How do I put all the words together, whatever? And I say, just start writing and think about the rest of it later, But, I think we all have a different writing process. I share with people often that I'm a journalist. I'm a journalism student. I was a journalist in, high school. So when I start writing, my process is to first create an outline, right? Go back to what our English teacher said, create your thesis statement. What do you want people to know in the book? And then I go to my bullets. Those 3 things or 4. In the book case, it's really like 10 chapters. And so I write out those things. Normally I write about 20 chapters, and then I narrow it down. But from there, I have my open and my close, and I have an outline for every book before I begin writing it. And that's just me. Now, I may not write my chapters in order, but I definitely know what order they're going to go in. And I'm very formal in my writing process. So I wanted to talk to some other individuals that may do something a little different.
Instead of me trying to go and talk to people, I would just sit down and write my goals on paper. Before I knew it, it was about 300 pages, like 300 pages of just me venting. And it, and that's the thing, it got me. And as I'm reading through it, I'm like, man, it's a lot like Kim was saying. It was everywhere. Like, it took over my life, and I was able to communicate in ways that just improved me to where I look up, I'm like, why do I even want to work for anyone? Why don't I just handle my own business? Because I'm able to communicate. So the process was extremely therapeutic. So a year ago, when I decided to write this, it was an extremely easy process because a lot of what I wanted to have was already down on paper. And it's just a matter of putting it in a certain marketing way and applying it to certain things and saying, all right, how is this going to lead to a podcast? How is this going to lead to more speaking engagements? How am I going to able to leverage the book and do more workshops and make sure people hear my voice?
Yes, and so I'm a visual learner. And so some techniques that I use, visual and auditory. And so some techniques that I use was putting up large Post-it notes. And being able to map out my outlines or just some words, even if I had a particular story that I was going to tell in that section or that chapter, I would put up that and then some like keywords that were going to help me connect to those. And then I would leave it there up on the wall so that as I was, going around the house, cleaning, watching TV, then when I had a moment of pause and I look up, then my wheels would churn. Of, okay, what are other things that connect to this particular point or this story, or what are the things that I really want people to take away from that particular thing? So that was one way. Another way is using an audio recorder. So I had a hard time sitting down in front of a blank piece of paper. It's easier to edit from something there than it is to start from a blank slate. So sometimes it's just about getting something out. And so I really use the idea of verbal processing with people. So if someone asked me about my book, they knew I was writing and they're like, what are you writing? Then I would be like, okay, before I start telling you, let me get this recorder out. And I would record the conversation of me telling them about what I'm writing about and what's important and what am I sharing, and them asking me questions, because if I could capture how I spoke to other people about it and what was exciting about the work that I was doing, then when I went to go write, then I was able to, use that information to pour that into the book itself. Whereas when I'm alone, isolated, I found that it was hard for me to get that motivation and to drum it up.
How did you decide on your topic? And then, and why did you decide to share that in a book?
The reason I've written From Fear to Faith is simply because I know fear is, something everyone faces. Everyone faces it. And at the time, I was thinking to myself, even with writing my topics actually came from different events in my life. That's how I was able to come up with my topics, from just going through different events in my life. And as I was taking different events, I was noticing that I was actually living out my life. And I was thinking, as to say, had I really allowed fear to have stopped me, where would I have been? So
in terms of my my solo project, which is Resilience Tree, Strategies for Success for Women of Color Aspiring to Leadership and Those Who Support Them, that really came out of me looking at executive leadership and not seeing someone with my identity, or very few. And especially because I was at that point working at predominantly white institutions. And so I thought, is it my identity? Is it aspects of me? Is it the system? And so I did my dissertation work on that. And there's very few people who are going to read a dissertation. And so I knew that, and I was doing all of these presentations, I was creating worksheets and workshops, and someone was like, you need to be able to expand this message and share these strategies. So I flipped it on its head, and instead of doing research with these women to find out what was the problems and what was wrong, I flipped it and said, you are resilient just for, getting to your position. Can you share with us who aspire to it? What are the strategies that got you there and sustain you? And so my goal was to share those strategies with other aspiring people so that we could potentially begin to build that resiliency before you get to that position, and be able to build up different pathways for people to think about the perspectives that they're needing to be able to sustain some of the maybe racism and discrimination and things like that were inherent in society. And so how do you provide the ways to build that resilience.
The beautiful part of being an author is just the access that it has opened up, right? I've met so many people. I have people that reach out to me from around the world, to talk to me for being an author, that they find me on LinkedIn or Instagram or what have you. And there has been a lot of really amazing opportunities that I have been open to as a result of being an author. And so I wanted for you guys to share, what's your best or, opportunity or experience, because sometimes it's just about an experience that you've had as a result of becoming an author.
For the longest time when I got to Florida, I was just known as that guy that's a trainer at 9 Round. I'm a boxing trainer at a gym named 9 Round. And I was just that guy that was just constantly motivating people. I'm there, I'm showing up, I'm doing my job, I'm screaming all this motivational stuff. But once the workout was over, that was it. There's nothing, there was no way of connecting. And when Swiftly finally came out a year ago, I bought a whole box and just left it at the gym. And after the workout, a week went by and the box was empty. People was like flying off the shelves. And, it's a lot, goes back to a lot of what you said in terms of now people respected me more as an author. So now a year later, now that the second book is out and I'm able to put on seminars and I'm able to talk a little bit about, how the second book works and how I went from trainer to now focusing on author, and people just respect that story. They respect it because it's not, you hear the word author and it's tough to talk to someone. It's tough to go and speak with an author one-on-one because a lot of them can come off as snobby, or they can come off as just unapproachable, things like that. But it's really cool when someone has access to an author. They have access to like a thought leader. They have access to someone that said, man, I got this problem. So now a lot of the ladies that I train at the gym, they're opening up to me a whole lot more. They're maybe telling me about a domestic abuse situation. And, that brings more to what I do in terms of teaching them how to throw a jab and uppercut across in self-defense and things of that nature. Or they may like, I'm thinking about being an author. Or they have more confidence now as a woman, and it's not just me teaching them how to train anymore. So God forbid they get an injury and they can't work out anymore. There's still ways in which we can connect, and there's still things that they can help me out doing. So let me tell you, the second one, I give so many, I don't want to give too much away, but there's so much of it was written because of the ladies that I was around for the previous 4 years. And I say it in the book, it would not have even been possible without them showing up every day, working hard, working their tails off. And that's really what it's about. It's a level of growth, man. And I'm not staying stuck in that, football player now he becomes a trainer. That's common. How are you going to grow out of that stigma? How are you going to grow out of that stereotype of an athlete that becomes trainer? You add author to it, and man, a world opens up, because I know there's a generation of athletes coming right behind me say, all right, Aswan, how'd you do it? You
can email me at info@iamjoycejohnson.com if you have any questions or what have you. Connect to me on all my social channels. I am Joyce Johnson, and my website is www.iamjoycejohnson.com. And for our authors, if people want to follow you or reach you, what's the best way to contact you? Doctor, start off first by giving your information.
Yeah, so think about it's Shawna T Sobers, like not drunk with an S at the end. So Shawna T Sobers on all platforms, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Clubhouse, on everywhere. It's Shawna T Sobers. So hope to hear from you.
The best way, because the name is so complicated, would be through Instagram. It's Swift_LY44. So I made it really simple for you guys. You don't have to type in Aswan Crookshank. Just at Swift_Lee44 on Instagram, and then I'll just DM me, and then we'll get it moving from there.
Awesome. And Kim?
For me, you can reach me on social media under Kimberly Lotts. Just make sure it's 2 T's, 1 S, LOTTS. You can also reach me through my on my website, which is www.lotsofmotivation.com.